Welcome to Winging It. We are doing deck upgrades today with Daisy and Zoey going into the Wages of Sin hard in the Circle Undone. They each have 6 XP to spend. So with Zoey, this is going to be fairly straightforward from where I'm at. I've gotten the things, the basics out of the way that I really wanted to have. You know, your Stick to the Plan and Ever Vigilant, the Relic Hunter, which allows me to use the Hallowed Mirror, and then the Brother Xavier, which I'm not totally sure I love that over the Beat Cop level 2, but nonetheless, we'll see how he goes. I'm probably going to pick up Charisma and some level 2 Beat Cops as we go. Not sure about that. But either way, the next logical upgrade is getting my weapons completely straightened out by getting 2 level 3 enchanted blades. So this is her entire 6 XP. It will replace my 2 other enchanted blades. The difference is it still uses 3 charges, but now you get +2 combat when you fight, whether or not you use the charge or not. So she can do single damage attacks with +2, which can be nice. It's definitely makes it better than the Meat Cleaver when it's out of charges. So that is good. You can decide to spend a charge after you pull the token. So if you're going to miss, you don't have to waste a charge on it, which is really good. Plus, if you defeat an enemy, you get to draw a card and heal a horror. So even more horror management for Zoey. She should be okay on horror with this. So we're going to spend our 6 XP. We're going to replace the 2 enchanted blades. And now she is going to be in good shape. That gives her a little bit of extra hard draw, a little bit of extra horror soak, and it means I think I'm less concerned about overpower now, so I can probably replace that soon. I don't need the card draw or the combat boost from it quite as much, so yeah, that'll be kind of a target that we can be upgrading out of. I still have the handcuffs in the deck, and I will at least keep those in the deck through the Lodge scenario, where we're going to need to make some evades and keep Doom off of enemies. After that, it's probably going to be ripe for getting rid of that as well. You can see that we're still keeping very asset light. Our assets in here, and so we're not playing a very heavy setup for her, which again is maybe atypical for Guardians, but so far it feels like it's been working really well. So anyway, that is where we are at with Zoey. Let's look at Daisy. And here's her deck. So I am going to go ahead and just admit that I'm going to commit the cardinal sin of getting rid of Old Book of Lore out of her deck. We've already taken the Black Book, which doesn't have an action on it, but it is going to take up a hand slot for her. We had to put an extra skull in the bag, but it's definitely worth it, giving her a willpower and intellect boost. It's just fantastic, just the stats that she wants. And of course, if she wants to take some horror to play something, she can. So we're taking out Old Book of Lore. We already have the encyclopedias, which when I have them in play, I'm almost always using them, which makes the 3 resources to put the Old Book of Lore in. I mean, it's good if I don't have the encyclopedia out, but I have tutoring capabilities with Mr. Rook. And I want to stick this other tome in. This just came out. This is the Otherworldly Codex. Uses 3 secrets. You can exhaust it to spend 1 secret. You can search the top 9 cards in the encounter deck and choose 1 non-elite. And choose a non-elite card among them. Discard a copy of the chosen card from play. Shuffle all search cards back into the encounter deck. And this will let us get rid of copies of treacheries. It will let us get rid of enemies that are, that have come out that are not elite. So I think it's a really powerful effect, especially in TCU when there's treacheries that just they sit out there and they represent like this existential threat to you, and it doesn't do anything now, but it pops later. You can just get rid of it. You can throw some Doom on Fate of All Fools, and then use this and find another one and discard it. So I think I definitely want that for the last scenario anyway. I mean, we could use it to get rid of demonic piping. And I'm probably going to pick up 2 copies of it. If there's something I would want to do that's not encyclopedia, that seems like the kind of effect that I'd want to do. Now, I will go ahead and admit that I'm a little bit concerned about the Astounding Revelations, that now I won't be able to trigger those with Old Book of Lore, which, I mean, is probably okay, because Rook is really the way you're going to normally trigger them, but I need to watch and see how much I'm drawing those and that if they're being useful. A potential problem with this deck is a Stubborn Detective, as I've had to work around it every single time, that drawing that Stubborn Detective is something I have to. It means I can't just use Mr. Rook any old time. I have to be in a position where I know that I can handle, handle an enemy coming on to Daisy, and either she's got to have a way to evade him or to punch him, or that Zoey can handle it. And that leaves us with 4 XP to spend, which is really this is another card that I really considered whether or not I wanted to put it in the deck, because it's not very useful in the last scenario, and a lot of because I've struggled so hard with that last scenario, I'm building my decks like Otherworldly Codex. It's nice now, but I think it's gonna be really strong in that last scenario. I'm building my deck with the last scenario in mind. And this card is not useful in the last scenario, but it's so useful in the next couple scenarios, especially Wages of Sin. I just wanted to go ahead and do it. And that is Shortcut Level 2, which will simply replace the existing shortcuts. Instead of just being a one-time action, you put it on a location, and then you can pass through that location multiple times using it once per turn. Really good. It's good when there's central locations that you want to traverse through. The next map, which takes place kind of, church and a graveyard, and you're moving across the map. Really good for that. Can help Zoey move across the map very quickly. It's going to be good when we go to the lodge. It's going to be good when we're doing the pandemic one. This is a card that will be useful in at least 3 of the scenarios we've got coming up if we can get it into play. So I think it's worth it, even though it's not fantastic in the last scenario. So anyway, that's our last 2 XP. We're going to go ahead and spend those to replace our level 0 shortcuts, and I think we're in good shape. I feel like we're in a good place. We're on pace to do good in Wages of Sin. And really, Wages of Sin, as long as you get 1 heretic, that's pretty much a success. Like, I'm not pushing really hard to get much more than that, but I do want to make sure that I get at least 1 heretic. So anyway, these are the decks. Now let's go play Wages of Sin.